Good morning, Russia in winter. It's cold out there. I decided to do an intermediate video between the start of the turn and the end of the turn. If you don't like deeper analysis of equipment, on map, off map, production, forces, units, Excel sheets, and lots of stats, skip this one, jump into the next one, watch the combat and the war play out. But anyways, we're gonna go through artillery, on map, off map. We're gonna go through the tank force, at least the medium tanks, and I think that's about it. So easily we can see that the Soviet Union has 83,000 artillery pieces, barrels, whatever, guns, and we're almost at 12,000 tanks. We are actually losing a bit of old tanks here, but anyways, so that's a baseline. So let's start with the artillery. We clear all filters and we select. Let me see here. These are the 268 artillery regiments. 19 of them are heavy siege mortar batteries that I have not been using at all. They only been sitting and training and saving themselves up because they're better at breaching forts, as far as I understand it, and I haven't really been assaulting German forts yet. I have deployed the BM heavy howitzers in front headquarters. As you can see here, if we go, I think I mentioned this before, but let's go with BM. We do have 36. All right. Okay, that's a bit confusing. But as you can see here, we have 3 heavy howitzer regiments in each front headquarters, and I guess a few in. It's pretty weird because one of them only has small howitzers. But anyways, that doesn't matter. Let's ignore that. We have 7,500 guns in independent artillery regiments and 460,000 men. That's quite a lot. So let's add on mortars. We're up to 11,000. Let's add on rocket batteries. Let's add on anti-tank guns. Okay, this should be the entire, what I would call artillery park of the Red Army, 600,000 and 14,000 guns. So they're outside of the regular infantry divisions or ground units on map. I suppose we could add on the air support, and that's another 5,000 or so anti-air guns. So we're up to over 19,000. And out of 6.5 million men in the total army, 700,000 are occupied with artillery service. So if we have 80,000 artillery and 19,000, about 25% of the Soviet artillery are in independent outside support units that you as a player can steer where you want to focus it. Thought that was a bit interesting. And you know, just want to say here that, wait, this is a bit weird. What's happening here? Oh, okay. Yeah, right. The lowest morale, you know, starts at 42, and rather fast we're up to the national morale of 45. So overall, I would say that our artillery is in rather good shape. What I've noticed though is that the Germans will push you back, and if you do have artillery support and you retreat, yes, you get a lost. We have a lot of lost battles for our artillery units, and they risk losing morale because they lose battles. So that's a downside. But on the other hand, when you win and you attack, I already have 2 guards regiment, artillery regiments. But overall, maybe sometimes it's better to not have defending artillery cover in armies that you know are going to get trashed, because you kind of grind down your artillery, and maybe it's a bit needlessly because maybe it doesn't swing the battle that much. I haven't, I try to distribute my artillery evenly across all army headquarters, whether it's a weak army defending in a sector where the Germans are really trashing me, or if I have a strong army attacking weak German units and gaining victory and experience. Maybe for my next playthrough or in the future of this campaign, I might rebalance and have more artillery in successful armies just because of them maintaining their battle strength and experience and morale. It's the same with experience here, that the lowest experience, well, some starts at 35. Those are new regiments training in the reserve pool, but rather quickly you are up to the minimum national morale out of almost 800 units. So I would have to say that artillery is in good shape for the Soviet army. So, and you don't steer the production, except that you can build new units here in the build menu. But I am 249. I'm way over my limit, so I really couldn't build more artillery regiments even if I wanted to. I did build 3 of them right before I got a huge bunch during the fall in reinforcements, and I kind of wish I didn't. With 250 regiments, whatever admin points you invest in more artillery regiments, is that really gonna swing the pendulum to your advantage long term? I mean, maybe you want to at the very, very, very start of the war, maybe you want to consider investing a full weeks of admin points, 20 of them, invest them in building 20 new artillery regiments of the sort. I couldn't tell you which one is the best long term because they change. I think the army artillery regiments are considered the best because they don't change to a worse version of themselves in the future. I like the 41C Corps artillery regiments because they do have 48 guns. They're very large, so that packs a bigger punch. This is 24 plus 24 here. Well, I guess that depends on your playstyle. Maybe you consider artillery a waste of manpower and resources and supply drain on your forces. I am not experienced and good enough at analyzing to know that. Let me know in the comments if you have opinions about the importance of artillery in War in the East. What I do is, if it's role-playing or just my mental, I like to have artillery support. If you have a very close battle and you see some artillery regiments, and the difference is like just a few factors from retreating or not, the artillery, they swung the balance of battle. So, definitely sometimes, some places, they do make a difference. Alright, so 20,000 independent artillery pieces, 700 plus men. That's a lot. Let's go into tanks. I did a little bit of a deep dive into the amount of Soviet medium tanks. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. That's not it. All these menus. I'm spoiled from Hearts of Iron 4 when I play Black Ice over there, that you can often have a pop-up or a menu where you can see you have this many tanks of this sort in your pool or in units. In War in the East, that's not the way it works at all. We have almost 12,000 tanks, and I do believe we have 1,850 medium tanks. Let me see, if I shut up for 1 second. I was here like 10 minutes ago. Okay, here it is. I need a epic pen. Right. So as far as I can tell from this production chart here in the equipment pool, I do run 1,850 medium tanks inside my combat units, on or off map, support units and ground units. Right. This doesn't tell me whether these are Valentines, Matildas, older T28s, or most likely most of them are gonna be T34s. Right, so you have to deep dive even further to get this information. As far as I understand it, with these 1850 tanks, I still lack around 1322 tanks for my units to become fully equipped. I do believe the refit here, it's very hard to know. I think with transfers and reinforcements coming, because you have 266 tanks transferring, and that means once these 260 tanks reach my units, I will only be lacking 1064. So with 1850 tanks in my units already, lacking 1000, that's like a third of the tank force that is missing. Yeah, you don't really get a lot of easily accessible information. You get a lot of information, but I wonder if the designers even know themselves what all these numbers mean. I will. There's an amazing depth to the statistics in War in the East, but I have to give them some criticism for not making them very easily accessible. You have 172 damaged medium tanks, and I suppose like 2/3 of them are or something like that are going to be repaired and rejoined. But my best estimate, I've lost 1,000 T-34s during the war so far, and I produced 1,572, let's call it 1,600. And you start with 1,000 tanks. See, again, not a menu, calculations in your head. 1,000 starting, 1,600 built, that is 2,600. 1,000 lost, and now 1,850 available. That means, and I checked, we have around 100 T28s in units. You have around 170, 180 Lend-Lease tanks. So that means we should end up with around 1,500 to 1,600 T-34s in our units. Does it matter? No. Of course, you can play the game. It's just, it would be an interesting statistics if you're into that kind of thing to glean from the menus. Like, the only thing, you have to jump down like 3 levels just to find out, and it took me a long while, even though I know the information is in here somewhere. I've forgotten, like, what menu do I go into and deep down and open up this little toggle here. Oh, there it is. 1,850 medium tanks available, excluding the... Yeah, it's not easy to find out this information. But anyways, now you know that out of around 11,000 tanks, around 2,000 or so, or 1,800 or so, are modern medium tanks. But 4/5, about 80%, are old, trashy, pre-war tanks that are going to die very easily. So if you think my tank force looks impressive, I think I don't think I ever conserved this many tanks this long into the war. And my impression is that as long as your tank divisions maintain a high force, they will not transfer into tank brigades with a smaller size. So I guess whereas mechanized will automatically transfer into rifle divisions no matter what you do. So I guess does that mean I want to spend the tanks in the mech divisions and conserve my larger tank divisions as long as possible and kind of be a bit more conservative about them? Or do I want them to more quickly transform into tank brigades that I can gain experience on and deploy inside my tank armies? I don't know, you tell me in the comments. So I guess I'll show you the on-map forces now is up to 4.7 million. We have at 61,000 guns, and almost all our tanks are on the map. And I deployed 1,800 planes. I don't think I really reinforced these planes, but I did inflict some... are we gonna talk about combats? No, I'll probably do that in the end of turn video instead. So I think I will leave it at that. Let me know what you think about War in the East and its equipment system. Do you care about it at all, or do you just play, or do you think it's really fun to do this kind of World War II simulation, porn, whatever, deep dives? If you made it to the end, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one.